Action.
Actually, the point of that is you can sync up the sound of the clacker.
All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the Video Cranny. My name is Gabby.
I'm James.
And we make videos in practice and for practice.
And for fun.
And for fun. Yeah, we do actually. James, why do you make videos?
I guess for me, the history. Can I give a history?
Yeah, go for it.
So when I first started working at the Elizabeth Seton Children's Center over 10 years ago, the music therapy department was included in therapeutic recreation. It's like one big conglomeration, as many places are. And at that time, we were also required to do, I think, 7 hours of recreation throughout the week. I don't remember if that meant we couldn't do music. So I always struggled with that. But one of the creative outlets for me was just, I was like, I'll make some videos with the kids, because I had just started, or I had some experience working on a TV show in my undergraduate degree on campus, and me and a buddy would make little videos here and there with iMovie. So I started just exploring that with residents as something that's an alternate to making music and not arts and crafts. I wanted something that I think was fulfilling to both partners, me and the residents. So I would make little videos with some of the kids, and eventually started taking off a little bit more. We invested in Final Cut Pro, and then I actually took on, would make other videos for the building here and there, and then I made a whole group based on making videos, and sometimes we brought in music, sometimes not. I think we're very flexible with our autonomy here at the center, that when we did go just to a creative arts therapy department and didn't have to do recreation hours anymore, I still found opportunities to explore making videos, because I found it rewarding, and I think because the residents live here, I always found it as a creative way to just sort of document them and their lives. And so it's fun to go back and look at some old videos and just be, wow, they were so little back then, and like, there's no one here really to just take pictures or document their life through images. And there's pictures, definitely pictures here and there, but like, I think video is a whole new, it's a different medium that can capture moving pictures. And then all the memories for me, at least, and I'm transferring it onto the residents as well, like the memories associated with filming it. So not only just the finished product, but the process, and remembering those moments that we had, creating it, developing it, usually me editing it, sometimes for long hours.
Yes.
But they're labors of love, and I think it still continues to this day. It does continue to this day. That's why I make videos.
Awesome.
How about you, Gabby? Why do you make videos?
Why do I make videos? I guess historically for me as well, I actually started making videos when I was a kid, like outside. I wasn't a music therapist yet, but I would make videos for different clubs or church groups that I was a part of, just as a fun way to document what was going on. And I was also a teenager around the time YouTube started being a thing, and all my friends were making videos, and I was like, I want to do that too. That's pretty cool. So going into school for music therapy, I kind of already had this video production, like bare minimum skills in my back pocket. And I would make videos for different assignments at school. And then once I became a music therapist, I was like, wait, I can actually use this in session. This is great. So the last place I worked at before I moved was a nonprofit children's theater. In order to promote the students and the work that we were doing, in addition to the actual shows, I wanted to add on a virtual element to it so that we could let people know on our website what it is exactly that we do. And it was just another medium of enhancing their voices and giving them a platform.
I think it's a huge function, especially in therapy, is the voice and the platform. Let's jump into some examples, and then maybe I don't know if we could chat about each of the videos. Like,
So, an example of one of the videos that I made to promote the program is a promo video that I created over the course of a year. I just recorded a bunch of shots and put them together. And then I also had a coworker do a voiceover. Okay. And this is a little clip of the NCPA Starcatchers.
North Texas Performing Arts is a nonprofit dedicated to bringing the performing arts into the lives of families all across DFW. With locations in Plano, Fairview, Frisco, and Dallas, it is home to 7 different troupes, one of them being the Starcatchers. The Starcatchers program is NTPA's branch for the therapeutic arts. Designed specifically for youth and adults with special needs, the program affords opportunities to participate in drama, music, dance, and art.
All right.
so what went into making that one, and why? How did you get that one started?
How did I get that one started? Well, I was seeing a bunch of promotional videos for the other programs at the nonprofit, and I was like, why doesn't my program have a video? Then I realized it's because I ran the program and should probably make a video. So I just wanted to create something that showcased what exactly we did and who was involved, and then how to get involved. So a lot of the parents of the kids in the program, they were always filming different aspects of rehearsal, so that the kids could watch themselves back after rehearsal to see what they could improve on, and they were also filming actual performances. So we had all of this footage already, so all I had to do was get footage from the parents and figure out, what's the story I want to tell, and splice in little clips and then put some music to it. And then I wrote a voiceover for my coworker, and that's how I made it.
Right.
Yeah.
It reminded me of we did I think something that was helpful for us is that me and one of my coworkers, she runs our social media, and we team up for a lot of the videos together because she works through development, and together we took a course on like filmmaking for nonprofits at a local place called the Jacob Burns Film Center in Pleasantville, north of us. It was nearby, and they offered classes. So it was like the only class I ever took was like 2 or 3 years ago. And I think what you were talking about made me think of like the idea of like a call to action. Which means like what's the point of the video? But they often call that a call to action. Like what's the idea behind it? And it sounds like for you something like that was clearly identified as the reason.
Yeah, that's a great way to identify it. Cool. All right.
But making videos can often be really good for where you work.
Yes.
Just for like your department, your music therapy department, but also the facility as a whole. And for me, that's what a good number of our videos do. Also, like we might interview parents and have them talk about something happening, something that we are focused on as a facility, and that's not directly music therapy, but I think interview skills, working with families, the family dynamics, it's all part of I think it's part of our scope of practice. And while music might not be the carrier of the video, I think the skill sets that we have as therapists help with interviewing and helping a family or helping a parent or family or resident in something that might be uncomfortable, like being behind a camera.
Right.
So for us, I think it's the one that says interviews. This is a story about a discharge that we had. And so I had history working with this resident in music therapy. So it was nice that the resident, she was comfortable being on camera. and us actually going to their house after they were discharged to interview them on the process.
Gracias a Dios porque Dios me ha dado mi niña, ¿verdad? Nosotros como padres queríamos una niña excelente, que naciera con unas buenas condiciones, pero Dios nos las dio con unas condiciones que ella tenía que usar unos aparatos, ¿verdad? Entonces yo buscaba un lugar para que mi niña se rehabilitara, se compusiera, y cuando yo buscaba, Dios me mandó para Elizabeth, un lugar grande en la...
What was the intent behind that, and what was kind of your process in creating that video?
Our process with that one was to document the journey home, or it was a truncated version of her journey and their experience here. Now, their experience as a resident, but now home. I think sort of just to give hope, just one of our success stories, which I think is always good to document.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of videos I see from like news reports of music therapists are often about the, success stories, some little snippets.
Yeah. And, a lot of places, we do see a lot of those news stories. And one of the nice parts about doing it in-house is that you get to choose the angle and the story that's told.
Yes.
That's one of the hardest parts about having news coverage come in, because it's a big gamble of, what are they going to say?
Yes.
You have no control over it.
Yeah.
They're going to say, musical therapist, or,
oh my gosh,
call them patients instead of residents, or just like little things that are cringeworthy to us as clinicians or workers at the facility, where for them it's a fluff piece. Nice, but for us, to have
it's our life. Yeah.
It's so important. So that way we can treat the story with dignity and respect. Have that be the most important element, rather than clickbait, or having the warm fuzzies. But have it be the accuracy behind it be the most important thing.
Right. Exactly.
And choosing just the right B-roll is always hard, because it can be challenging, because you want to show the resident or the child or the patient the way that you as clinician sees them, everything and all, whereas but also be mindful of their presentation as a human, whereas as a clinician, we're used to seeing secretions and sounds and smells, but to capture that on video, to throw to the public, there's some dilemmas there, for me at least, of making sure visually they're represented in the most respectable way possible. Our policy here is making sure if they have shoes, that their shoes are on. If they have a bib, actually take the bib off, and make sure they're clean, there's no secretions anywhere, that they don't look like they're in pain. There are moments that that residents might be in pain, but that's not something we want to put out, I guess. Not that not
portray.
Yeah, because I think it's an isolated incident that then we take care of and we mediate, and we alleviate. But to have that be what people see, we have to be mindful of the trolls.